Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu, and I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's out to Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me, I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday to all of you out there. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I am your co-host, Trey Holiday, and I'm so excited to have my co-host and partner back in studio with us, Big O. What up, Big O? Happy Monday.
Trey Holiday. Happy Monday to you, too.
Yes.
It's good to be back. I was gone on Friday. I saw you got a great Feel Good Friday show with Jake Gravbrod and Proof in the Play.
Yeah.
And all kinds of other good stuff going on. Back in the studio, I'm feeling all right.
Yeah, right up. You're so right, man. Friday, we had the laughs going on. Great energy with Shayna and Nikki joining us. And
Right.
Proof
Oh,
and
yeah,
Jake.
I forgot. Shayna
Yeah.
and Nikki were there.
Man,
as well,
Besa. I mean, you
Besa.
packed that. We packed that show on Friday. It was good. Good times.
Well, that's good. You know, I mean, we can't always be talking about all this bad news,
That's right.
this compounded trauma that we experience here and not have some time to like let loose and everything
Absolutely.
else. All right. Good morning, everybody. Again, welcoming you to the Morning Update Show. And yes, you're seeing Omari without a Converge shirt on or a hat. You know what I'm saying? You might want to get a screenshot of this moment. We don't know when it's going to happen again. Want to thank you for tuning in. And also, all the people want to say big thanks. You know, our audience is continuously growing. So big shout out to everybody over there in Eastern Washington and Spokane and down in the Rose City and Portland and everywhere else in between. This is the perfect opportunity right now to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Ooh, man, my head is shining.
It's good. Looking good.
We'll see if I can stick with it. We've got a bit of a shorter show today because we're up against a production here, but we do have some headlines. And before we get into it, one thing that's big, of course, all across the state of Washington is kids are going back to school. 6 through 12.
Yeah.
Some people in grade 13. They'll be there too. You got kids.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, the opportunity for my son, who is a 9th grader this year at Rainier Valley Leadership Academy, for him to go into school 2 days a week, I'm excited for him because honestly, this online presence has been tough on so many students, man, and teachers. I mean, they're used to being able to go to school, have these social interactions. So I'm thankful that we're open enough, safe enough with the right protocols in place to get some of our students back to in-school study. Like, I'm excited for him, to be honest.
So
yeah.
I talked to Seattle School Board Director for District 7. His name is Brandon Hersey. He's been on the show plenty of times. Brandon Hersey, and actually I'm going to interview him tonight for the district. But he said that a good portion, maybe up to 50% in some districts, people are choosing to be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting to see the demographic breakdown of the people who are choosing to keep their kids at home.
Yeah, I think we have some new data that we're going to be able to learn from with this return to school. And I think it's also really important that they did have the option for people. It wasn't something that was mandatory or necessary. It was really there if you wanted it for your student. And I like that people were able to opt in or opt out of this. I mean, again, it's kind of getting us prepared for what, the school year may look like next school year.
Right. And so any parents in there or students watching the Morning Update show, go ahead. We want to hear your thoughts in the comments. So go ahead and put your thoughts in the comments about returning to full in school. Most parents I talked to were kind of excited. They had no idea. Listen, it's a lot of parents who had no idea what a handful their kids are. Yeah. They had no idea what these teachers be dealing with. And now after almost a year or so of dealing with it, man, I'm sure that it's a lot of teachers should be getting presents, apple pies, all kinds of stuff. Because they like, man, you've been dealing with this guy the whole time. But yeah, so following up with School Board Director Brandon Hersey later on today. Also, want to remind everybody that, the vaccine is now available to people in the state of Washington, ages 16 and older. We're putting the link in the comments for the vaccine finder for you to be able to find a location closest to you to be able to get the vaccine if you so want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, once again, another thing that is opt in or opt out. It's really funny how, the vaccine has become so politicized, right? You talk to certain people and they're on one end or you're on another end. It's very interesting, the conversations I've been having around the vaccine. Oh, I just got to be honest. It's another one of those things popping up all over, inside community, outside community. It's a thing we're all dealing with here in America and all over the world really right now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just different all over the country. There's some places where there's demand and they're struggling to have enough vaccine. There's some states where, and there's even some parts of states, even here in the state of Washington, where a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm good. And some it's political reasons, and others it's it's historical reasons. Others is just like, man, I don't trust the government. I mean, it's a lot of different reasons why people are not taking the vaccine. But I can say this is that here in the state of Washington, again, if you're 16 and older, you're now eligible to get the vaccine. It's free. So if somebody is trying to sell you the vaccine, that's a scam. And also, no one is delivering vaccine by mail. Like, man, people don't wait long to get on the hustle.
I know.
You see what I'm saying? Yo, just cash at me. I got the vaccine for you. You know what I'm saying? It is all good. So,
no.
But yeah, we want to continue to get that information out there for people in our audience who want to get vaccinated. It is available right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge. I love how on our sheet, you guys, it said Vax Day. And I was like, it literally reminded me of tax day. So it was just hilarious. I think also too, again, it's out there, it's available. There's a vaccine finder, which is really nice. I'm glad that we have it in the chat. Yeah.
All right. So today, closing arguments in the Derek Chauvin trial. And man, I listened to some of these closing arguments, and it's a lot. But we have a preview here from CBS this morning.
But we're going to start with this big story that everybody's talking about because we're beginning at a pivotal moment for Minneapolis and the country, really, with closing arguments all set today in the trial of former police officer Derek Chauvin. It's less than a year after we first saw him kneeling on George Floyd's neck. Those who have kept a shrine to Floyd near where he was killed and have marched and demanded justice are all watching very, very closely.
This moment also comes amid new protests nationwide over 2 other deaths involving the police. Jamie Yuccas is outside the courthouse in Minneapolis, which has been transformed by very heavy security. Jamie, what's the mood there?
Well, Anthony, I can tell you tensions are high, and the Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is calling for calm. After 45 witnesses and hours of testimony and cross-examination, Minneapolis and state leaders are bracing for unrest. National Guard troops are deployed throughout Minneapolis, working alongside state and city police officers. The governor has requested more law enforcement from neighboring states. Minneapolis public schools officials are also bracing for the verdict, switching students to remote learning later this week for their safety.
After they hear closing arguments, Jamie, what are the next steps for the jurors in this case?
Well, Anthony, I can tell you the judge will read them instructions drawn up by the court with input from both the prosecution and the defense. 14 jurors sat through the trial hearing testimony from witnesses. The judge will have to dismiss the 2 alternate jurors, and then the remaining jurors will pick a 4-person who will monitor the deliberations and take the verdict into court. They will be sequestered while they review the evidence. That means no contact with the outside world as they make this very important decision. They will need to come to decisions on the 3 counts Chauvin is facing. That is 2nd-degree unintentional murder, 3rd-degree murder, and 2nd-degree manslaughter. The jury's decision, guilty or not, has to be unanimous. Anthony?
Jamie Yuccas in Minneapolis. Thank Jamie.
All right. So again, closing argument. I watched the prosecution's closing arguments earlier, and then while we're starting the show here, the defense had their closing arguments, and then there's going to be a rebuttal from the prosecution. The jury is going to be sequestered, as you saw there. The judge is given a 1-hour notice, so it's going to give a 1-hour notice from when the jury delivers a verdict to when the public is informed of the verdict. Apparently, they're really concerned about safety. You see that downtown around their Justice Center there, it's a lot of security. They're telling kids not to go to school. And there's been 4 cases of similar kind of cases there in Minnesota, and they were saying that on average it's about 2 or 3 days of deliberation. So the experts are saying like Wednesday, Thursday. But then also what the judge said is they deliberate until 7 p.m. So like say if they reach a verdict at like a 7 p.m., they're going to wait until the next day to deliver the verdict.
Well, these details are going to be really important. I mean, right now, I think all of us are really, really focused in on the nuances of this case. And these details help to explain what we can expect and what the folks are going through in the next couple of days. It's really intriguing, too, because as our eyes are on this case, I think as a nation, many folks are also learning a lot about our criminal justice system, how it works, the inner workings of everything. And I think that is another example of how much people are glued to this. Oh, I mean, it's
the whole world
serious.
is watching.
I mean, seriously.
100%. The whole world is watching this. And, clearly in Minneapolis, they're preparing for the worst.
Yeah.
And, I think, going into this, I'm no lawyer, even though I play one on TV, but going into this, it just seems to me like the defense knows they're not going to get 12 jurors to vote not guilty, but they're just looking for a mistrial. But I mean, crazier things have happened, but I don't really see a not guilty. But, they've put enough doubt in there. It only takes 1 juror, and we'll see what happens. I think clearly at this point, that's all we can do. But 12 jurors, The whole world is literally on Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah, seriously, right now. I think in the next few days, man, I'm kind of just gonna be glued to it a bit and just like, keeping my peace, because that's, to me, is the most important thing through all of this, is to not get too wrapped up. But a lot of us are. I mean, it's just one of those things. We saw it over and over again. And clearly it has had its own effects on many of us out here that have really been glued to it. So again, yeah, we'll see how it plays out, man.
Yeah, and your auntie was out there in Minneapolis. Your auntie Maxine.
Maxine.
She was reclaiming her time. Maxine Waters, Representative Waters, was out there in Minneapolis, and I wanted to show a contrast here of how it's being played out in the media. This first clip, this is a Bloomberg quick take. This is just Representative Waters speaking to an audience there in Minneapolis.
This is a very difficult time in the history of this country, despite the fact that we know that people of color have been killed too often. Unarmed young men, in particular black men, have been killed. We know that we're now coming to the end of the George Floyd trial, and that I suppose the closing arguments are going to be made on that case coming Monday. And we're really just almost at the beginning of what is happening with our young man, Dante Wright, who was killed, and that we have to persist in calling for justice. We have to let people know that we're not going to be satisfied unless we get justice in these cases. And so I just could not sleep. I could not rest. I could not be satisfied without coming here to let the family know, and the friends know, and the people of this community know, and all those who have organized for justice know that I stand with you.
No good cops in a racist system.
I stand with you.
Thank you.
I am not afraid. I am not intimidated, and I'm going to speak truth to power.
Thank you.
There she is.
Your auntie.
You know what? You got to just love the energy of folks that are getting out there, utilizing their voices to really, again, speak from their perspective about needing to see justice in this case. I agree 100% with Maxine Waters there. Auntie Maxine, I got to agree, because honestly, at the end of the day, this is why that collective voice is so important. I understand why they want jurors to be sequestered, right? Because people are out there in the streets. People are utilizing their First Amendment right to voice their concerns and their opinions on this. And I think she's spot on. I mean, all of us are really looking to the system to say, it's time for justice.
Okay. Well, it's good to see that's your opinion. And now we have the opinion from Fox News.
We're looking for a guilty verdict. If nothing does not happen, then we know that we've got to not only stay in the street, but we've got to fight for justice. We've got to get more confrontation. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
Outrage pouring in this morning after Congresswoman Maxine Waters appeared to incite protesters in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. The California Congresswoman breaking the local curfew far from her home district.
This as tensions remain high with a verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial expected this week. Here to react is former special agent with the Secret Service and author of Becoming Bulletproof, Evie Pompouris. Evie, thanks so much for being here. How dangerous is it that a sitting member of Congress is both encouraging fighting and confrontation, but also seeming to attack and almost threaten the court system that, look, if we don't get the verdict that we want, there could be consequences?
Okay, Trey Holiday. So Representative Waters going there to Minneapolis. Is she inciting violence, or is that good trouble being there out of district after curfew?
I mean, you got to know I'm going to stand on the side of good trouble. I mean, we've been talking about this before. I mean, come on. At the end of the day, you just got to give it to Fox News, because they're going to find a way to create the narrative that they want to create out of this. And another thing about this is that we have been talking about the division of this country for many episodes here. And ultimately, it is a real thing. We know that, look, she had a wide range of what she was saying there, right? A wide wide range. And what Fox News wants to pick up is, oh my goodness, there's a danger in her saying this. There's a danger in saying that we must fight for justice. I think at the end of the day, there is a such thing as good trouble. And I think that's really what she was speaking to there.
Right. Well, I just thought it was funny. I came across the and it's not often we do some comparison or whatever in national media
That was a good one,
and
though.
things like that. But I think that one, Fox either represents definitely represents what a good portion of America wants to hear.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be in business. They wouldn't be thriving in their space if they weren't delivering the news in a way that tens of millions of people in America want to hear, the message that they want to hear. But I would say that at what time in America, especially for Black people and Black people's rights, have you not had to get out in the streets and make noise? Let's take it away from Black people. Let's say the suffrage movement, Susan B. Anthony, they was in the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's very much the American way. And just because a court issues a judgment doesn't mean the judgment is just. Dre Scott, they said we was 3/5 of a human being. Was that a just judgment? And so when I watch the news here, and it's almost like shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's okay for which they should. It's okay for, let's say, these Republican representatives to go to the border and exposing all this stuff on the border, not even in their home district. They come from all over the country. They're going down there to the border, right? Because they're exposing something, right? The issues that they're saying that's there on the border, children there being basically encaged and everything else, whole nother story. But that's the whole point, is that you use your platform as a member of Congress to shed light on something. And so, of course, they go do that. It's heroic. Maxine Waters using her platform to come up there to Minneapolis. And that's what she should do, to lend her platform for a broader voice as to what's going on. And it's like, oh, this is so dangerous. And, and some everything else. And there's been no time in American history when it comes to civil rights for people just to treat us civil that it worked just standing there on the sideline. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, wishing it into existence. People need to make noise. Now, is making noise equate to violence? No, I'm not saying that. People need to make their voice heard, because even making our voices heard, that they still, rights still get railroaded here. And so I just thought that it was real interesting how things are packaged up, and it also packages into this sentiment that a big portion of America already has about Black people asking to be treated equally, about this movement for the value of Black lives and some everything else.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on this one. Oh, and I think that, again, as we think about the history of this nation, and what we're actually seeing play out before our eyes, it does not get more and more contrasting than what we have before us. Just last week, we were able to report on a white man that literally dragged an officer, with his car, almost hit another officer. They had their guns drawn out, but nobody shot. Nobody had that imminent fear of their life, that imminent fear of danger, that allowed them to understand, man, let me do something about this driver here. Let me do something to protect myself. Yet, time and time again, unarmed Black men are seen as an imminent threat, a danger to an officer's life, and they immediately go for their gun, and they don't have no problem pulling the trigger. So it is very true. And I think too, that when we talk about all of this, there's a lot of stuff to cover here. Oh, I'm just saying, I agree with Nancy.
This is the same.
And it's not a riot.
I watch all these networks because I really like to be an objective person. So I really want to watch. I really like to hear what other people think, whether I agree with them or not. But if you were to watch a lot of these other networks, and especially when they talk about the insurrection that occurred on January 6th, and man, they'll tell you like it was nothing. Yeah. It was no big deal. So all of this talk about the sacredness of our nation and our capital and our forefathers and everything else is like it's out the window, because they would rather make our capital less of a sacred space to justify the actions of the insurrectionists. You see what I'm saying? Always find an excuse for their actions. 100%.
Yeah.
And we continuously find that. We continuously see there was a data leak for the site. It's not GoFundMe, it was a different site for Kyle Rittenhouse. And that was the 17-year-old kid there in Kenosha, Wisconsin, who shot and killed 2 people, had an assault rifle, walked right past the police. They offered him some water, and then he left the state. But so many people in that data breach, it came out that a lot of the people who are supporters and donators, they're in law enforcement.
Yeah.
They're prosecutors. They're this, they're that. I mean, it's what we face here is so inbred and is so ingrained in our society. And people are naive to think that these are just surface issues. They're very naive to think that, even one guilty verdict or one whatever is going to change something systemically. I mean, we really have to look at these systems that we're engaged in here.
Yeah, you just said it, systems, and we've seen the language go from one thing to another with regard to inciting riots versus, getting out there, utilizing their voice, being patriots. We've just seen the language play out in all of this. And I don't believe that Maxine was doing anything to incite threats or harm or any of that. She was literally saying, we have to continue to press. And when they said that it was controversial, what she's saying, like, we need to get out there. At the end of the day, really what she's saying is that we can no longer as a nation continue to absorb these atrocities as normalcy. That's what I believe.
Man, these are the same people, though, that'll tell you what Maxine Waters said was controversial, but they'll uphold the Boston Tea Party.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, guys, was just enough was enough. They were like, man, we're paying too many taxes over to the British. We can't even make our own tea and sell the tea. You know what I'm saying? We're tired of getting stepped on, our rights and our freedoms. And man, they got loose up there in Boston Harbor. And everybody's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they destroyed personal property. You know what I'm saying? That was property destruction there and some of everything else. But, I just think that a big problem that we have here in America is we pick and choose, man. We just need to lay our history bare and be like, man, this is our history. This is who we are. How do we move on from this point? But, we find that so much that happens here is people excusing or making excuses for the things that they want to, and then demonizing, other people. And so if Maxine Waters is inflammatory, imagine what they said about King.
Yeah. I mean, right. Absolutely. We go back through the history, man. We've heard it all, with regard to people just standing up for what they believe to be right, standing up for real justice, man. As we talk about it all the time, it's just about equal rights and equity, man.
Man, people just want to be treated civil.
That's right.
Like, that's wild. Where you're like, hey, bro, just want to be treated civil. Okay. It's a lot. Hey, we're going to take a quick break right now. And speaking of being treated civil, man, I guess it's a problem. I think you said you experienced it. We know Council Member Zahalai did. Racist Zoom bombing. Oh. It's a thing. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city. I did it for the love. I did it for the people. I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Hey, man, don't hate. You know what I'm saying? Listen, okay? Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. It's Trey Holidays making jokes about my shiny head. No. Sorry. I like it, though. I will let the viewers decide. We keep it bald or we throw on the hat. You know what I'm saying? I'm responsive to the viewers.
You know, hey, I'm a proponent for diversity. Clearly, I've been saying it, man. You know, you got to look. You can diversify your look, baby.
Okay. All right, I got you. Welcome back. And so, what we're talking about right now, and actually tomorrow, we're going to be joined by with Melissa Hellman and Jen Smith of the Seattle Times. They wrote a real in-depth article about this racist Zoom bombing that's going on. And basically, there it is. Zoom bombings that target marginalized people spark demands for legal protections. And, you know, I mean, they're going to go more in depth, Melissa Hellman and Jen Smith tomorrow. But I put it on here today as well to kind of like toss this up to this like, damn, man. Can't even Zoom while black. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, you're so right. Oh, it's another layer here, another level. And we experienced it during a community event that, again, it made it so that a lot of people that were doing these Zoom events and hosting certain things, we had to make pivots, yo. We had to be like, all right, we can no longer just put the link out there in the Facebook event. You have to do this registration. We have to actually get your email. We saw people using fake emails, creating emails just to bypass the registration process or participate in it without being true about their identity. We've seen a wide variety of ways that people have utilized, I guess, these pathways to still get into these Zoom events and into these Zoom meetings and do some real harm. And it's unfortunate because I think there's some breaches that even some students have seen this. It's one of those things where it's like, man, they just find another way to spew their hate, bruh. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you know what's crazy, right? About the Zoom and Zoom bombing, and in the article in which Melissa Hellman and Jen Smith are going to talk more tomorrow. But they hit on a whole bunch of different things. Seattle University, Kent Chamber of Commerce, Thurston County Schools, Council Member Zahalai. They had a meeting out there in Skyway. But one, it's like, man, look at all the extra work. That's much harder. Like Zoom bombing is much harder than just driving by some black people and be like, hey, nigga, or something. You got to go. You got to find the link. What's the passcode? You got to, you know what I'm saying? It's hella intentional, man, to go and bomb somebody's Zoom. And it's like, man, no peace.
No peace. I mean, I'm going to tell you like this. The thing of it is that we talk about it all the time, that those who want to spew that hate will find a way to spew that hate, man. And, now they're like, I mean, we also, let's not be remiss here. The internet has its own workings of, hey, I get to sit at home and I get to troll and I get to say things on your comments and I get to come in here and be hateful and talk about how you're wrong. All of that, it really allows people to be these digital warriors, yo. So they ain't really trying to drive in their actual car with their actual license plates and pass by a group of black people and do that anymore. Now, the digitization of our world has made it easier for people to be at home and do this kind of, I'm going to do it from this, but you don't know who I am type of thing, protecting their own selves.
The internet's giving a safe haven to cowards.
Yes,
that's seriously what it is, because these same people doing all this Zoom bombing and everything else very well might be the people that we work with, not here at Converge, but you know what I'm saying? People we interact with every day. It's Seattle though. See, there's a difference. Seattle, a lot of these people who might be Zoom bombing you might actually be your bank teller or your barista or probably your loan officer who denied the loan for sure. But they ain't got no courage to say it in nobody's face. And that's the thing is, and I had to get over it because, early on, the comments that we would get was so hateful and threatening, and just I'd be like, damn, it'd be one thing like, hey, you guys, your show sucks, this and that, or you should have asked this question, or you're biased towards this and that. You'd be like, whatever. But the hate, dog, like the hate is real. And you'd be like, and so then I'm like, man, this got to be a computer. Ain't nobody, it's got to be automated or something. Then you go and it's like, it's real deal people. And it's like, man, it's wild.
Yeah, it
It's
is
wild the amount of hate that's out there on the internet. And like I said, people would never say that in your face.
No, they wouldn't. And one of the things I just got to say is shout out to our loyal supporters, those who, because they will clap back on them in the comments. I just got to say that and give it up to you guys, because I see you guys always having our back out there. If somebody comes in with some of that hate or those weird perspectives that are really hateful, centered on hate, not just saying a different way or a different perspective, or hey, let me, shed some light on this, but what about this? But no, when they come with those that intention of hate, man, our folks, they get them, man. They're not letting that spew around in these comments. And so that's another way of like, hey, you're not your perspective in that regard, your hate is not welcome here,
Yeah, can I hit the camera? Your hate is not welcome here ever. Hey, we're going to take a short break right now. ZYD break. We come back. I got something uplifting. We got a short show today, and we've been leaving people kind of affected with all this stuff. And we're going to have to find so much good stuff with these verdicts coming out. But we got something real nice, a clip from Mocha Culture, and that was shot on top of the Liberty Bank building. I want to share that with you. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Public Health, Seattle, King County, Zero Youth Detention, along with our partners from across the South King County region, are committed to reducing violence and creating the conditions needed for our neighborhoods to be safe and free of crime. Too often, the response to crime and violence has been a piecemeal approach with a program here and a program there. When family units collapse, schools fail to educate, the economy fails to produce jobs, and crime rises, we've looked to law enforcement and punitive measures to save us. Nothing could be more wrong or further from the truth. Law enforcement can't shoulder all the burden or take the rest of us off the hook. We are acknowledging the lived experiences of Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities. We are centering community as the experts who can effectively identify key issues related to systems, policies, and practices that impact children, families, and communities of color across this region. Those most impacted by the issues will help call out and identify the root causes, including structural and systemic factors. 150 residents will partner with King County to develop strategies, solutions, and an action plan that explicitly addresses system changes needed and eliminates barriers to access for Black, Brown, and Indigenous folks. These residents will also identify the criteria used to measure our collective success. Simply put, we need your help as we do the work needed to make King County the safest in this country. It will take specific commitments from all of us, community members, our young people, elders, and leaders from the sectors all across this region. Together, we will get this work done. Please click the link below and sign up for a work group. Or you can recommend a co-facilitator from community for each work group. We look forward to hearing your ideas, concerns, feedback, and solutions as we build a community where all our children can be happy, healthy, hopeful, safe, and thriving.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury.
And I am Trey Holiday.
Trey Holiday! Man, it's good to be back here.
Right?
Yeah, I was in Chicago. I got a video for tomorrow, and it was a real interesting trip in Chicago. I went and visited my son. He's getting ready to move out of that apartment. Remember, you guys were there with us when he moved into the apartment.
Yeah.
So he's moving into a different apartment. So I was helping him out with that. And also in Chicago at the same time, there's protests going on over Adam Toledo, the police shooting there. And it was funny, the Uber driver on my way flying back out yesterday morning, it's like, "You from Seattle? Hey, that's where they got that place. It's not a part of America anymore, right?" He was talking about the job for the chat.
The way that people experience it outside of us, man, is hilarious.
I was like, "Oh, word?" And he was like, "Yeah, the place. They left America. Have they come back to America yet?" I was like, "Oh, okay." So, but real interesting stuff, man. Has a great conversation with these young people in Chicago while I was there. And asking them their perspective about life and art and everything else. So we'll air that tomorrow. And Little O, Omi, sends his regards to everybody. Says he's doing fine, but we were out shooting the whole time, so he didn't cook, so we didn't do his struggle meals, but he also didn't burn down the kitchen.
There we go.
Good thing there. But man, we want to start the week off right. You know, when the morning update show first started, and back when the only big headline was COVID.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And our show used to have a different format. Remember, we used to do local news, national news, and then international news, and then Melanin Magic and everything. Man, the show was really dope, you know. And then, of course, through everything, we've had lots of changes. And actually, the morning update show used to be 2 hours.
I know.
We used to get it in, man. It used to be a 2-hour show, had time for everything. It was pretty dope. But we always want to leave people in a good space and a good feeling. And I was watching Mocha Culture, who was executive produced by Shayna Shepherd and our own Nikki Barron as part of on the Converge Music platform. I watched Mocha Culture this weekend, and I saw this performance by Van Ashworth that was shot on the roof of the Liberty Bank building. It's a remake of Aretha Franklin tune, Ain't No Way. That's right. Ain't No Way. Van Ashworth from the Liberty Bank building.
So ain't no way. Ain't no
All right, Vance Ashworth there, backed up by Shayna Shepherd, shot on the roof of the Liberty Bank building. Huh?
Oh my goodness, so beautiful, beautifully shot, beautifully done, well crafted, you guys. I mean, they're killing it on Mocha Culture.
Yeah,
seriously.
And people, you know what I love about what's happening right now is that Converge, we're really, like I said, thriving in our purpose. Our purpose is much more than headlines and news. We started Converge to really be a platform for creative people in our region to be able to elevate their work. And man, I mean, it's amazing what we see. And it was a producer, Nikki Barron, and put it together. Big shout out to the people over there at the Liberty Bank building. We had I heard quite a few residents went up there to the roof, and that wind effect wasn't a fan. It was really windy up there.
Right. And even in the sun, you know, they made it happen. You know, we know that these spring mornings in Seattle do get a little chilly. So they were up there, you know, enjoying it, but they sounded great. And shout out to the band. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes the band does not get a shout out, and they just sounded so good in that cover right there. Ain't no way.
Right.
Love it.
And you can watch, if you missed or want to watch again, you can watch Mocha Culture episode number 2. The link is there in the comments. All right. Like I said, we got a short show today. A few things to hit on is one, we can put this up here, Black Health and Wellness. Always want to talk about that. That is Saturday, April 25th, Black Health and Wealth Fair. And it's going on at Jefferson Park. There's no time on this flyer, but the time is from 12 to 5. And all kinds of good stuff there. You come out, one is food, so I'll be there. But also mental health professionals, housing advocates, man, a lot of just different people in the community. Deaf Chef's going to be there. A lot of different people in the community. They're encouraging community members, especially community members that are experiencing things. You might be, if you're experiencing homelessness or you're experiencing trauma. A lot of us are experiencing trauma, things like that. Or you just want to be around a sense of community. That's this Saturday from 12 to 5 at Junkins Park.
Yeah, they're going to be doing some healing circles too, I believe. And so it's exciting, you know, when you understand a lot of effort gets put into these events. So please come out. We've been talking about the need for collective healing, right? We you know, some folks have their therapy they go to, they have their own counseling sessions, but the ways that things have really been hitting community, this is a very fitting time for us to be getting together around health and wealth.
Right, and it's free. There's no charge or anything like that at Junkins. Good
Jefferson
to get back.
Park, yeah.
Oh, it's Jefferson.
Yeah.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah, said so on the flyer.
Okay. Well, I got a lot going on.
I know. well, don't worry. We'll still be there.
It's Saturday, so I get a chance to mention it a few more times before the event. But basically, it was good. It was going down. It's on Saturday.
There we go. It's coming up.
And we'll be there. All right. Tomorrow, as I mentioned before, we have Jen Smith joining us from the Seattle Times, and Jim will also be joined by Melissa Hellman of the Seattle Times, and they're talking about this article that we made mention of here today about this Zoom bombing, racist Zoom bombing.
I'm glad that they're going to be on to get into it and dig a little deeper, man, because I think so many of us have been experiencing this. I'm glad we'll have them tomorrow.
How come somebody came bomb the Zoom? Like, hey, man, we just came here to bomb you guys with peace and well wishes and donations.
Yeah.
All right. Any last words before we get out of here, Trey Holiday?
Man, as always, see yourself as a part of the solution. This coming weekend with the Black Health and Welfare, you guys will be able to find a way to do that. A lot of great folks out there and organizations that you can plug yourself into to become a part of the solution. It takes all of us to actually make America the greatness that we know it can be. So please, find ways to find yourself as a part of the solution.
All right. It's always better to be part of the solution than the problem.
There we go.
We're going to get ready to get out of here. As usual, I want to remind you to go forward in your purpose and go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun.